Last year, I did a roundup of my favorite games I played halfway through 2024. I want to make that a tradition, so I'm back to let you know some of my favorite thus far that released in 2025. You will notice that I have shrunk the number of games I'm talking about from 10 last year to 5 today. That is for two reasons. The main one being I wanted to buy less new games. I have to really justify buying a game, whether it be on sale or for a specific reason. This isn't my full-time job like many other channels. I do this in a fun way to talk about my hobbies. That's not to say I do this entirely for free, so I'll plug my Twitch channel. The link to it is in the description. The other reason is I want to dedicate more time to individual games. Last year, there were games I played one time before I had an opinion on. I have to remember that I am recommending these titles to people. What happens when the game falls off in the latter half, or is so repetitive that it gets dull and I don't get to it? There are a few games I did not get a chance to play that are on my radar. Whether it be the game being out of my budget at time of release, unreleased at the time of recording, or sitting in my Steam cart currently during this summer sale. Those are all reasons why they are not featured. That would be the following games: Claire Obscure, Expedition 33, Mina the Hollower, Aaron Score, A Gentleman's Dispute, Kingdoms of the Dump. You've seen them on screen, but I feel like it's best to list them in case you are interested based on what you see. I have others, but I'll limit it to 5, like the selection of 5 games. You don't come to hear my anticipated releases for the rest of the year or hear me whine about what I missed so far. But let's get on to the actual ones that I'm recommending. Blueprints is such a fascinating game. With roguelites becoming so common, they have to start exploring their cores to stand out. We've moved from turn-based to action, to deck building, to gambling as cores for the roguelites of today. Blueprints is a look at it from the puzzle perspective. And by puzzles, it recommends you take your own notes in a journal for reference. I've never seen a video game actually recommend that. You adventure through this house, learning bits and pieces as you navigate through it all. You find modifications to the actual mansion that act as your permanent modifiers like you see in games like Hades. They open new doors, no pun intended, for your runs. There's so much to the game. The podcast Mobius Tubes gushed about it in an episode last month, and they do better justice of how I'm describing it. The link to that episode will be in the description. I got curious and looked at the achievements on Steam. Of the 16 achievements, none of them were achieved by 45% of the players. The game is so different from anything else out there. It could be an inspiration for future roguelites, but I can't tell the future.
Just trying to remember what the sprint button is, and it's the other shoulder button. We'll go ahead and do this.
Yes, Deltarune's first 2 chapters have been around for a few years now, but chapters 3 and 4 were made the same day the Switch 2 launched. But like allowing early access games, new parts of the game released, and you can purchase all of the chapters in one bundle. Playing it again made me realize that the big central focus of the game is very much related to what Undertale is known for: sparing enemies. Instead of just being a gameplay mechanism that alters outcomes and endings, as far as I know, you see character growth through the story. Susie refuses to spare enemies and only fights until she forms a stronger bond with Chris and Rossai. All the while, characters like Lancer provide literal laugh-out-loud moments, but like the original game, it has dark undertones that shocks you when it rears its head. As characters who returned in some different roles. Undyne is now a local police officer, and Sans is, well, he's still Sans. Deltarune reminds me of why I like the original, and that's not a criticism to Deltarune, but it continues to do what is great about Undertale. I'm glad the story is being continued, a unique take on what Undertale set in place, and glad the game is in so many hands, especially being a launch title for the Switch 2.
Just go where they're not going. Right in the middle? Yep. After the maze, so I got through it just not following them. Oh, this must be the machine I built. Isn't that the machine we designed? Alright, sweet tough, but let's try our best. Oh my god. Oh, that's not good, actually. Oh, you think that's bad? Just wait. See what happens when it starts.
I talked about the first Duck Detective game, The Salami Bandit, as one of my favorites from last year. It made for a great detective game that was short and engaging for both kids and adults. The Ghost of Glamping is the continuation of the story of Eugene McQuacklin, the detective, as he struggles post-divorce and moves in with his annoying gator sidekick, Freddie Frederson. Similar to the first in the series, I like that the game has this nonsense theme while having something serious happening beyond what is presented. The voice acting is killer, like it was in the first game, and I adore that it is a bite-sized package with a small price, 2 or 3 hours for only $10. It ends with a cliffhanger that I did not see coming. Not a ton to say about it, just that it is good fun if you like mysteries, and it has me excited for the inevitable third game in the series.
This campsite is a disaster. Should I call the plumber myself? That will take forever. Arno won't be.
I'm always into games that are easy to pick up, addictive, and can mindlessly devote time to. Luck Be a Landlord is an all-time favorite of mine. Bellatra was one of the best from last year, and Game of Devil is one that I talked about last quarter that got a good mobile port. Nubby's has a lot of great qualities to it. The first thing you'll notice is the aesthetic. In an interview with Frost Prime, the developer says he gets praise and questions on it a lot. I like to say it has the appearance of 90s classroom PC edutainment games. Games like Number Munchers and Math Blasters comes to mind. It almost feels like a time capsule to show how graphics used to look. Similar to Billionaire that came out last year, all you're doing is similar to Pachinko. Drop the ball from the top and hope it scores enough for you to move past a certain number that you are required to get. Where the two differ is that in Billionaire you get totally different symbols to build your strategies. Symbols being the things that the ball will bounce into. In Nubbies, you get different abilities that trigger based on meeting certain conditions. A set amount of time, X number of pegs hit, your first peg hit, Nubby dies, and while the synergies are apparent between them, where the game can get out of control is once you get perks. The perks can cause triggers to force activation. Off those forced activations, a trigger can force a perk to trigger. Rinse and repeat. In one instance, I had a single item and one perk. That's it. My wife asked me to get something, and I realized I had broken the game. So I let it play out. I got her shoes, went downstairs, came back upstairs, started talking with her, but I paused so I could listen and still hear the item triggering. A common trope in modern roguelites is saying that you broke it with the synergies and combos that you have made. Nubby's has that, but literally tells you that you broke it. Nubby's Number Factory is proof that good games don't need millions of dollars behind it to pay for staff and marketing. The developer Mogdog is an art student first, and made this game on the side for fun. The sales for this game paid off his student loans. An amazing story for him personally. He made a great game that is both intentionally and unintentionally hilarious. I've loved a lot of the games from the two developers that partnered for Peak. Another Crab's Treasure and Going Under have been great for Aggro Crab. Haste from Landfall was in the running for the best games of the year, plus they made content warning and rounds in prior years. In their combined effort, they made something that capitalized on the trend that Lethal Company pioneered, but without the horror aspect. Your group of travelers have crash landed on an island. Now you are to climb up a peak to avoid the freezing storm that is coming. You have stamina you are managing, but the weight of the goods you carry, rising hunger, fatigue, injuries, frostbite, and other things like poison are tracked on the same bar, meaning that the hungrier you are, the less stamina you have. The less stamina you have, the less you can climb, you let go and fall, whether it be a couple feet or a long, long way down to poisonous plants to your death. And it isn't just one mountain you are climbing. Every 24 hours, a new island is randomly generated that your party has to traverse. That makes every day a new adventure and landscapes to assemble. And on top of climbing the one mountain, it's not just climbing one mountain, it's climbing 4 mountains. There's a lot to learn too. We had tried 2 or 3 times. A friend of mine joined the party only to tell us we could cook food at fires instead of eating them raw. That led us to cooking everything, like a well-done bugle. No, not the chips, the musical instrument. The game sounds so simple, and it is, but it creates some hilarious yet realistic situations. Let's say you're stranded out in the woods in real life. You find a shrub with berries in it, and you have no food. Do you eat them? Well, probably, but uh-oh, they're poisonous. In our play of the game, the 2 other players had died, and I climbed up on my own. I found a bridge that took me to an easy path to climb up. In our following run, all of us were alive. I told them my discovery about the bridge, and we all agreed it would work. As we are crossing, the bridge shakes. How are there jellyfish? There was too much weight, and the bridge collapsed, leading to my death. Appropriate, but it should be expected. Be looking for my hides of that stream coming this week.
Oh, almost there. Yeah, Dylan's got it. Yeah.
Nice.
Let's see here.
Okay.
Man, I thought we were closer.
Which-
All right, so
the way I cleared it on my own was crossing this bridge, and it was easy for me to do solo.
all right.
You can just down right to here. You don't take fall damage if you go into the bridge from there.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, what is this?
I did crouch, going under.
How do you crouch?
The bridge is breaking.
getting ready to break. Ah!
Oh my god!
Well, did you guys survive?
Oh, there's no way.
Alright. I'm still up here. Are you guys still up here? Just everyone fall.
Dead.